Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the first event of our Youth Leadership Experience programs, and welcome AIESEC Alumni Australia to the series of iTalk, designed to challenge and inspire youth during this pandemic. This workshop is brought to you by AIESEC in Monash and in partnership with AIESEC Alumni Australia. And we want to give a special thank you to Andrew and David for helping to promote this event and making this event possible. So if Andrew is here, can I please have a few words from Andrew? Is Andrew here?
Hi there, I'm afraid he's running late, so he sent us apologies and he's asked me to say a few words.
Thank you, David.
All good?
Yeah. Thank you.
So as I said, I'm Andrew True, who is the newly minted president of AIESEC Alumni Australia, sends his apologies. He's probably going to at least get to us before the end of the session. But on his behalf and on behalf of AIESEC Alumni Australia and AIESEC Alumni Asia Pacific, I certainly welcome you to this jointly managed, co-branded event of a series of webinars. For the alumni community, these are a great example of A-Talks, an alumni program growing in significance around the world. And as you can see from this evening, the topics and speakers are carefully selected to be relevant for both the AIESEC and the AIESEC alumni communities. These events are one stream of the broader A2A program, which we've been developing and which I'm driving on a regional basis and globally too. This particular series is a pilot to also raise funds for MCs and LCs. So in this case, the proceeds go to Monash LC, and boy, do they deserve it. But we're also hoping that this will be picked up, and in the end, there'll be hundreds of events like this, which are jointly run by AIESEC and the alumni, and during this time of the pandemic, help to fund AIESEC as well in the absence of the exchange program. So in terms of this particular event, I'd love to say thank you specifically to Stefan and his amazing team at Monash. They are truly great examples of AIESEC as taking on the challenges provided by this pandemic. And really, I know for a fact this shows their courage and their resilience in this rather challenging time. And I say that having just entered phase 4 lockdown here in Melbourne. I'd also like to, as a last thing, I'd love to say thank you so much to a bunch of my friends in the alumni community who've registered for the event. And whether they attend tonight or not, just so that you know, this gets support globally. There's the president of AIESEC Alumni International who's registered, so has the president of the Latin American region, so has the president of AIESEC Alumni, AIESEC Life, which is the alumni program in the US, and a number of others from the management team for the Alumni Association in the region. So we're very much behind you, and once again, congratulations. So thank you so much for coming. Back to you.
Thank you a lot, David. We hope that we can collaborate and make more events like this happen in the future. So firstly, before we come to join the space, here's some expectation for the space today. So to pay some respect to the guest speaker, please be present and respect the space. Keep your camera on. Make sure that you are not muted before speaking and stay muted when you are not speaking. And be proactive and don't be afraid to speak up in the Q&A section after the desired section that we have. So here's the agenda for today. So firstly, we're going to have an introduction and clarification about our Youth Leadership Experience programs. And next, we will go through the desired session with Pawel, our guest speaker, and to understand and better manage our priority in life. And if you have any questions, there will be a Q&A space right after that. And stay until the end for some exciting announcement that we have for the upcoming week. To see about us, Youth Leadership Experience, I believe by attending the workshop today, you guys already have some understanding about our Youth Leadership Experience. And this in the past few years, you guys already know that we have been running exchange programs. And since the pandemic happened, our exchange program are put on hold until the situation becomes better. So that's why the Youth Leadership Experience program is the new initiative of AIESEC Australia, try to develop the leadership through providing insightful sessions with industry experts from our AIESEC alumni network, as well as our international partners to connect like-minded youth. And come to our workshop series. Our workshop series will help you to explore the relevant topics and skills for leadership development delivered by our AIESEC alumni and external guest speakers. Because of this shift and change, we are working closely with AIESEC Alumni Network through Andrew and David to build a closer bond between the two organizations. You see a direct example of the positive impact when the two organizations share our resources and put our mind together. So as you guys can see, for the next 2 months, we're going to have the 5 topics that we cover. The first one is today, priority management. Will help you to gain a deeper understanding on your current stage, reassess your priorities, and map out your plan for the future. Communication in a virtual environment will help you to understand how to better present yourself and using body language in the digital platforms. And come to week 5, which is self-management. You will, in this week, because a lot of assignments happen, assignments are piling up, we can keep ourselves managed. We can understand and manage ourselves better, also learn how to overcome this period and with a better time management. And in team empowerment, we can understand the team principle and how to leverage each other's strengths and improve on the team in general. And the last session would be personal branding. You can learn how to implement the knowledge in the past 4 workshops that you have attended and build your own personal brand. And don't let you wait for any longer. Welcome Pawel to talk about how can you design your life. I'll let Pawel to share screen right now.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today. So just give me a moment to share my screen. Can you see it? Yeah, awesome. All right, so welcome everyone to the Design Your Life session. I know it may sound strange to talk about planning your life, especially in times like these, in times of coronavirus, where it seems that there is so much uncertainty that it's impossible to plan anything now, because it's so hard to know where we will be a year from now, 6 months from now, a month from now, maybe even, or maybe next week for some of us, right? The current situation turned many lives upside down, and all of us feel affected by it. But the process that I'm about to share with you today can be really powerful, especially in times like these, because it takes into consideration all the changing circumstances and things that we cannot control, and helps us move forward in spite of those challenges. It helps us constantly adapt based on how the world changes, and find our way forward, find the path that takes us closer to where we want to be. So it's a really, really powerful tool. And I guarantee you that after the session is over, you will have a process that will help you get to where you want. And I would like to ask you to be fully present in the session, pay attention, and participate actively. Because as you will see, it's an action-focused session. It is a workshop, so you will need to do the work. I know many of you are in different places in your lives and your careers. And I'm a coach, and I work with different types of people. So people who often come to me are in the middle of their career. They've been working for a while, and they come to me and say, Pawel, I'm completely dissatisfied with my work now, or with my life. I felt like I was on a particular path. I felt like this is what I wanted, but now I'm not happy. I'm not feeling fulfilled. What do I do? Interestingly, just a moment. Okay, interestingly, it's very, very common for people to feel that way. Studies show that 2/3 of workers are dissatisfied with their job. 15% actually actively hate their jobs. So the numbers are really, really massive, right? 75% of people are dissatisfied with their work. And on the other hand, I also work with people who are at a university, are about to start their career, and they come to me and say, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I'm worried that I will choose the wrong thing and then I will regret it later, right? So how do we approach that? In essence, I think all of us want something like this. We all want to find that sweet spot, a sweet spot that takes us on the intersection between what we like to do, what we are good at, what makes impact, positive impact on the world, and what we get paid for, right? All of us are trying to find that place where we are able to use our skills with passion and excitement, do something valuable to others, to the world, and then be rewarded for it. And the Design Your Life process can definitely help you to get to that sweet spot where you see that delicious cupcake waiting for you, right? And all of us love cupcakes. Okay, so before we start, I just want to tell you a few words about me and why am I delivering this session. So currently what I do, I work as a learning manager for Tata Consultancy Services, which is an IT consulting services company. And I work with them to develop talent internally and also collaborate with customers of the company to help them grow and develop. I also run a couple of my own businesses. I work as a coach and trainer with individuals and companies. And I also founded my own coaching tools company called Happy Coaching Tools, where I develop coaching products to help people coach themselves to success in a fun and playful way. Because I believe that personal and professional development doesn't need to be serious or a painful process. It can actually be fun and enjoyable if you allow it. And last year I published my first book called Combinatory Living, which is all about helping people with many different passions or people who have no idea what they want to do with their life to figure it all out and create a life that they are excited about. And it took me a long time to get to where I am, where I'm doing what I love, where I'm using my talents, where I'm adding value to others, and I'm being paid for it, right? Not so long ago, I was completely lost. When I finished my studies, I had no idea what I want to do. I had so many interests, and I didn't know what to focus on. And the process that I'm about to share with you today, the Design Your Life process, was that one tool that helped me the most. And then I started to also use it in my coaching sessions and training sessions, share it with others, and there was tremendous feedback from everyone. And people were able to use it to design the life that they are excited about. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that process with you. So very quickly, we will cover 2 main points today. First, we will talk about the mindsets. What does it mean to think like a designer? Because designers think differently. It's not only something that Apple pushed on us, that think different slogan in the late 90s, right? It is really a mindset, a powerful mindset that designers have that makes them different than most people. So we will talk a little bit about that. What is the mindset that we need to embody to design a powerful life? And then we'll talk about the specific process, that step-by-step process that will help us get there. And right now, I would like to ask you for a couple of things. So, like I said, this process is really powerful, but only if you participate actively. So, I want you to do the work together with me. I hope you received the workbook that goes along with this session. And if you haven't printed it out, then do make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen with you right now, okay? If you don't have it, just run quickly and get it. because it's really, really important that you do this work as we go along. I want you to start the process. We will start it together, and then I want you to complete it later, because this session will be very fast-paced. I will not give you enough time to complete all the exercises and activities in the session, but I want you to start, because that's how you will start building momentum. And then it will be easier for you to implement this process later on and continue the work. So I hope I have your full commitment and you're ready to do that with me. So can you type in the chat box, yes, just as a confirmation that you are ready to do the work and start the process with me? Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks a lot. Okay, so design thinking, this whole process is based on the concept of design thinking. So how many of you are actually familiar with design thinking? Can you please let me know if you know what design thinking is? Have you ever been exposed to design thinking? Do you understand the process? No? Okay, a few no's, some yeses. Okay, so it's not very important that that you know what design thinking is to use this process effectively. If you actually don't know it, that's completely fine, and we will not get into too many technical details here. So don't worry about that. We will really focus on how to apply it to design our lives. So design thinking is a nonlinear process that's iterative, that helps teams and individuals understand users, customers. It helps you to challenge certain assumptions, to redefine problems, so that you can create innovative solutions that you can prototype and test, right? So it may sound complicated, but it's actually very, very simple, but it is also very powerful. So here is a typical design thinking process. So it starts by understanding the users, creating certain definitions. Then you go into the ideation phase, where you come up with many different ideas and solutions. Then you create several working prototypes that you then want to test, right? And gather feedback. And so that you learn more about the assumptions that you made. And similarly, we will take exactly the same approach to start designing our lives. So we will start by empathizing with ourselves. We will start by understanding where we are currently. Or where do we start from, right? Where am I right now? Then, once we know that, we will define where we want to go. And then gradually we'll ideate steps that will help us get there. And then we will build several prototypes. You cannot have just one live prototype. You need several different prototypes that you can then test to see if this is actually what you want out of life, out of work, out of your career. Because often we make certain assumptions. We believe that this is our path, but when we actually achieve that, we can be disappointed. So this process will help you avoid those disappointments, because it will help you test create low-risk tests where you can fail fast and gather feedback about your assumptions. So we will go back to the process later on, but first I would like to talk about the mindset. So what does it take to think like a designer? So as you see here, designers imagine things that don't exist yet, then they build them, and then the world changes, right? And in exactly the same way, you can imagine a career and life that don't exist yet. You can visualize that, and you can build those prototypes that you can then test, gather feedback from, and then your life will change. So to achieve that, 5 main mindsets are really required here. So it all starts with curiosity. Curiosity is the most important quality that you can have when it comes to designing your life. And interestingly, all of us are born curious. Have you ever interacted with a little child? We are all naturally curious when we are little. We ask so many questions, right? I have a 6-year-old nephew, and each time I see him, he constantly asks questions. Why is the sky blue? Why? How does this work? Why does it work like that? What does it mean? Who decides what, right? Countless questions, one after another. But as we get older, we slowly start to ask less and less questions for various reasons. Many of us just feel that we don't want to show that we don't know answers, right? Because it might make us seem that we are not good enough, not smart enough, or not whatever enough. But curiosity is really powerful. Asking questions is absolutely important because that's how we notice things that need to change for us to grow and develop. Then second, it should be all about trying stuff. Designers don't just think about things, they do things. They build things, they take action. That focus on taking action as you go is absolutely crucial. Then it's all about reframing problems, looking at all the challenges that we have and turning them into interesting opportunities. Also having focus, to be able to place your attention on one thing only, the thing that you are doing right now. Forget about everything else, focus on that one thing. And then last but not least, collaboration with other people. It's so hard to achieve anything significant these days on our own. We are not in silos. We are connected to everyone else. And you cannot create anything innovative in the world without collaborating with other people. It's all about that synergy, where 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 10, 20 or more. Where you come up with ideas that you wouldn't come up on your own, where you work with other people because you see a particular problem or a challenge from this perspective. Someone else might see it from a different angle and another person from a different side. And then bringing all of that together will create something new, something great. And similarly, you need your life design team. You cannot have a great life on your own. We all need other people. So you need to come up, identify the people that will help you create the life that you want. I, for example, connect regularly with my life design team. I have one friend especially with whom I connect every other day during this quarantine. And before that, we were connecting once a week to discuss our life design projects. And now we have the opportunity to do it very, very frequently every other day. And we work together through all the different challenges and problems that we have. So I want you to already start to think about the people that you can put in your life design team and you could collaborate with to create the life that you want and help them do the same for their lives. Okay, so these are the main mindsets. And one thing I do want to emphasize in particular is this: the focus on taking action. I will be repeating that so many times throughout this session because it's absolutely important. If you take only one thing out of this session, I would want you to take this. Focus on taking action. Take steps. Don't think your way forward, build your way forward. And I will show you exactly how to do that in a moment. But it's really all about taking it one step at a time. You don't need a grand plan for your life because there's so many things we cannot control. And often when I say that to people, they tell me this, but what about purpose. I need to know my purpose in life, right? I want to know what my mission is. I want to focus on my passions. I want to know what my passions are. Well, to that, I replied that most of us have no idea what our passions are, right? There are only about, studies show that about 20% of people are clear about what their passion is, and they know exactly what they want to do with their lives. But it's also a mindset that they have. But once they start to do that, maybe that would change, right? Maybe they will realize that it's actually something that doesn't excite them anymore. And then what do they do then? Maybe some of you are in that situation where you've been doing something for a while, but now you feel like it's not exciting to you anymore. But what can you do instead, right? So life is not really you cannot navigate your way through life. Life doesn't work like a GPS system in your car where you just put in the destination, the exact street that you want to arrive on. You don't have all the data and you don't have the control to sort of move through life like a GPS system. We have no idea where we will end up. We cannot choose our destination. Life works more like wayfinding. Sort of think about being stuck somewhere in the middle of a massive forest. And the only tool that you have at your disposal is your compass, right? So you cannot know exactly the destination at which you arrive, but you can at least know the direction in which you want to move. You can move to the north, right? And then once you get off track, you can adjust. So you are not fully clear about the destination, but at least you take it one step at a time to move in a particular direction. And that's really how life works. And that's how designing your life, the process of designing your life, actually works. So one other thing I want to add before we get into the process of designing your life is this. And I call it my secret sauce because it will accelerate your growth and development so much further. And it is play. Being playful about it, because often we take life so seriously that we stress ourselves out, right? I remember when I was in my early 20s, I was constantly anxious, filled with stress and anxiety about my future because I wanted to figure out what it is that I want to do. And then I was creating, I even had a 25-year plan for my life, which was, that was putting so much stress on me that it made me feel completely burnt out. And I work with so many people who start their career and after a few years, they need a sabbatical, they need a break because they are fully burnt out. And there are people often even under 30 who are already burnt out. How crazy is that, right? One of the greatest quotes that I've ever heard was, don't take life too seriously, you will never get out of it alive. And it is so true. None of us will get out of it alive. So we might as well have fun with it, right? Be playful about it and enjoy it. And by the way, on the screen, you actually see me hula hooping. I went to this yoga festival because why not? And then I saw this hula hoop workshop and then I said, that looks fun. Why not do that? And I don't care about how it makes me look. Do I look masculine enough or whatever? Who cares? Just have fun with it, enjoy it, and be playful. So think about how you can use that mindset of playfulness, of approaching life with ease to start to design a life you're excited about. So if you're like I used to be, stressing constantly and trying to make things perfect, just try to step back from it and see how you can add more playfulness into your life. All right, so keep that mindset in mind. And now let's talk about the specific process. So now we are starting to actually do the work. All right, so all the introductions are done. Now it's time for the workshop part of this session. So as you remember, we start with empathizing. So where can we start to design our life? There's only one place where we can start, and it is where we are right now. You cannot start anywhere else. So stop judging yourself and stressing yourself about not being where you want to be. It doesn't matter yet, right? You can only start where you are right now. So, okay. So how will we do that? How can we know where we are right now in our lives? We will use this, the Wheel of Life. And if you've never seen that tool before, it's a very, very powerful coaching tool that helps you build awareness around where you are in your life right now. So I would like you to take your piece of paper and a pen and draw this wheel that you see here on that piece of paper right now. So draw the circle and divide it into 8 parts. So each part, each slice of that pie, if you will, represents an area of your life. So we have an area that is all about family and friends, your significant other, romance or lack of it, fun and recreation, health, money, personal growth, physical environment, which is all the things that you have, all the physical items and tools that you use, like clothes, your apartment, furniture. It can be anything, your physical environment. And then we have your career or your studies, if you're a student, right? So each area of your life, we will now evaluate. So I hope you are already drawing that circle with all the areas of your life right now, right? And I want you to then mark how satisfied about that area of your life you are right now. So, for example, if we look at the area of your significant other or romance, right? Are you satisfied with your romantic life? Maybe you're in a relationship and this is what you want, what you really want, and the relationship is going exceptionally well. You're going on dates, you're getting to know each other, you're having fun. So if so, then the line that you would put would be closer to the outside circle, right? You see those little numbers on the left-hand side here from 1 to 10, where 1, the closer to the center, represents lack of satisfaction in that area, and 10 would be the absolute maximum satisfaction that you could get out of that area right now. So if you're fully satisfied with your romantic life, you would put that line closer to the outside circle, maybe 8, 9, or 10. But if you want a relationship, but you're single and you're not getting any dates, probably that would be closer to the middle part. So in the end, that circle, that wheel of life, would look something like this. Yeah. Okay, so it should look more or less like this. So I want you to do that right now. Don't think too much about it. Just intuitively put lines for each of those sections where you feel you are right now. And it's not about how the society sees that area of our lives. It's not about how other people would think you should live your life, right? For example, for some people, when we look at fun and recreation, some people would say that they are completely satisfied only when they are going out with friends 4 times a week, at least, right? But for you, maybe it's going bowling with a couple of friends every other week. And that's your idea of just this maximum fun that you want in your life. So it's very subjective. So I want you to now evaluate yourself as you see each of those areas for yourself, okay? So take the next few seconds to do that. Don't think too much about it. Don't judge it. Just do it right now. Just put the lines where you feel they should be, okay? I hope you're done by now. I hope you're with me. Okay, so what does it look like? Is it surprising? Is there one area that you feel is significantly worse than all the others? Or maybe one area that is much better than all the other areas, right? So if your wheel looks anything like the one that I'm showing right now, I want you to ask yourself this question. If this was the wheel in the car of your life, how well would that car drive? So if it looks anything like this, it would be a very bumpy road, bumpy ride, right? So it's not about saying that, oh, my life actually sucks right now, or my life is awesome. It doesn't matter where you are. We are just building awareness around where we are right now. And the worse your life is, the more problems you have, the better, because the greater improvement you can actually make. So you can get really excited about that. So also in your workbooks, you will have some additional coaching questions that I would want you to go through later on. So that will help you build more clarity around that wheel of life and how you can grow and improve further, right? Because we really want to build awareness. We want to develop that muscle of being able to look at ourselves, at our life, and know exactly where we are without judgment. Sort of gather data points that we can use later. So that's step one. The wheel of life, empathizing, starting where we are. So we know where we are right now. So now it's time to define where we want to go, right? You are here, you want to, so where do you want to be? So now we have to build that compass that I mentioned earlier that will identify the direction in which we want to go. So the compass will consist of a couple of parts. So it will consist of your life view and your work view. So we want to create a life that's coherent, where who you are, what you believe in, and what you are doing work together seamlessly and create a coherent life. So, for example, a person who hates cigarettes would not be working in a cigarette company, right? Because that's not a coherent life. So we want our life view and work view to work together. So what is a life view? What is a work view? So a life view is all about what life means to you. So right now, I want you to start to think about it. And also don't worry about making it perfect straight away. Like I told you, we are gradually building prototypes, so it doesn't have to be perfect right now. I just want you to start the work. So I want you to start, so a life view and work view should be a short reflection about each of those, right? Maybe 250 words, not much more than that, or it could be bullet points. Like I'm a big fan of bullet points, so my life view and work view are mostly, each section is a very short paragraph about what life means to me in general, and then some bullet points about what are my most important values and how I want to express them. So the questions that can help you figure out your life view are these. What is life all about, right? And the best way to answer that question is, I want you to think about a moment in the future, far away in the future, where you're 110 years old, lying on your deathbed, and your grandchildren are coming to you and are asking and say to you, Grandma or Grandpa, what is life all about? What's the meaning of life? What would you tell them? Right? I know it's a little bit abstract to think in those terms, but really, when we think about what advice we would give someone else, that's usually the thing that we need to hear ourselves. So I know it's so crazy to think about that with the time when you will be like 100 years old, but humor me. Try to really put yourself in those shoes. If someone asked you at the end of your life, what advice would you give me? How should I live my life? What is life all about? What would you tell them? Really think about it. Maybe start to write down the answer to that question, because this is exactly what you yourself need to hear right now. All the advice that we give to others is what we need to hear. So what would you say? Really contemplate that. Another question is, what is most important to you in life? What are your top 5 values? Right? So that's another thing. So start to think about that. And then when it comes to your worldview, similarly, what is work all about? Why should you work? What do you want to contribute? Think about that diagram that I showed you earlier on, the cupcake, right? What do you enjoy doing? And it should be very general. Don't write any specifics, right? So it should be general. What do you like to do? What talents would you like to use at work? What activities would you like to perform? And maybe first start by thinking what problems you would like to solve in the world. Just to give you an idea, my worldview starts with a problem that I started to see consistently, and that's that we approach work in a weird way. It's something serious, it's something that often just pays money, but we spend so much time at work being miserable. So I decided to make my worldview all about redefining how we approach our careers and work life, and redefining how we approach personal and professional development. So that's an actual statement in my worldview. I want to redefine those areas. I want to help people redefine how they work and how they live their lives, and help them add a lot more play into their lives, right? So that's the problem I want to work on. And then how can I do that? I can do it in so many different ways. And then what skills I want to focus on? What talents do I have that can contribute to that cause? So one talent is I'm a great listener. I'm great at communicating. I'm great at giving feedback, right? So I want to focus on all of those things. I'm great at managing other people. So these are the things I want to put in my worldview, I want to focus on. And they are general enough that many different careers would actually allow me to do that. So I don't have to be just a business coach and trainer. I could be a career counselor. I could be a teacher. I could have so many different roles. So we don't want specifics. So for example, if you feel like you really want to be a journalist working for a particular media company, don't put it in your worldview. Make it more general. We don't want a destination, we want a direction in which we want to go. So it should be very, very general. So I hope you started the process of writing those things down. Whatever comes to your mind, start writing it down, right? And one thing that I definitely want you to write down right now is take the next 30 seconds to answer this question. What are your top 5 values? What's most important to you in life right now? So just to give you an idea of what values could be, one of my top values is freedom. I love freedom. I want to be free to spend my time how I want and have the flexibility to do the things that I want when I want them. So that's really important to me in my life. Another thing is connection and love. I get so much energy from other people, and also I want to give so much to others. So I want to connect with many different people. I know that I do need my alone time, but building connection is something that I'm really excited about. Also contribution. I want to help other people. And then growth. I want to learn. I love learning. So I constantly want to identify the things that I want to learn. So these are my values, and they are so important because they help us to start prioritizing the activities that we do on a day-to-day basis, right? Because it's all about identifying what's most important. Stephen Covey, author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, by the way, that's an amazing book. And if you haven't read it, I highly encourage you to do that. So Stephen Covey says that one of the most important habits that you can have is to begin with the end in mind, and then focus, and then put first things first. What does that mean, to put first things first? It means to learn what the most important things in life are to you, and then structure your days so that you can express yourself in those ways. You can take the actions that are aligned with that. So I hope that you have already identified your top 5 values. Let me just switch to the chat box to see. So can you let me know very quickly if you have your top 5 values? So a few people already started to put that in. Can more of you let me know if you know what's important to you, or are you struggling to identify that? Yes, values, love, peace, positivity, harmony. I love those values. I think I know, right? Okay. Struggling to identify, that's all right. So we are not here to judge that, right? We are here to build awareness. So, awesome. Inner peace, education, health and safety. Fantastic. So if you are still struggling a little bit, this is a sign that maybe you need to work more on that later on. So I will ask you, in the end, I will ask you to take particular actions after this session. So if you are not clear about what your values are, maybe this is the next step that you definitely need to take. And there are many ways in which you can do that. So there are great tools on the internet which can help you actually figure out what your values are. There are personality assessments that can help you with that. By the way, my favorite personality assessment that's out there is called 16 Personalities. And I highly encourage you to use it. It's really awesome, and you get so much information for free. And it's very, very accurate. Some people already are using it, I see. So that's awesome. Okay, so I hope you see now the value of building your compass. We need a direction in which we want to go. So in essence, what we are trying to create is our true north. And this concept of true north comes from Bill George, the author of a book called True North, surprisingly. And he said that we won't always know where we are going, but we can always know if we are moving in the right direction. And it is so true. Our values can help us move in the direction of our true north, where we focus on the things that are more important to us. Just to give you an example how it works practically in our lives is a few years ago, I was given an offer, a job offer that would make, it was an amazing offer. Great money, great career progression, but it was in Dubai. I'm currently based out of Zurich, Switzerland. And I was in a serious committed relationship at the time. So that would mean leaving my partner, or maybe trying long distance relationship. And I tried that before, it didn't work. For my career, right? So I had to think about what choice should I make? Because career is important to me. But one of my top 3 values is love and connection, like I told you before. So based on that, having that compass really helped to make this decision very easy. So I chose not to take that opportunity. I chose not to take that job. And I decided to stay here because I knew that this is more important. The relationship is more important to me than my career. And I never regretted it. Even though the relationship didn't work out, I'm still happy I made that choice because it was true to myself, right? So that's the purpose of having your compass based on your values. That's why your life view and work view, knowing what they are, is absolutely crucial. So focus on that, identify that, and you will see how easy big decisions in your life become. All right, so we know where we are, we know where we want to go. How do we get there, right? So now we start with the ideation part. We need to start creating different possibilities that will help us to take steps forward. So often what we want out of life is someone with to come to us with a massive neon sign that says, this is your path, this is your passion, this is your purpose. But as we said before, that's not how life works. The way life works, it gives you tiny little clues, right? It's more like this gentle tap on your shoulder and a whisper where life says, hey, try this, look here, maybe this could be interesting to you. And we get those taps on our shoulder every single day. It's that moment when you feel that sense of curiosity about something, an activity, right? Maybe you had this thought, oh, it would be cool to write a short story, but then you don't do anything about it. But that's life's way of showing you that maybe you should move a little bit in that direction. Look here and see if there could be something from that. So how do you do it from a practical point of view? Well, you need to identify all the activities that you're at least a little bit curious about, that you are doing right now, and then measure them in terms of engagement, flow, and energy. So what does that mean? We all know what being fully engaged means, right? When you are present, when you are doing an activity and you are enjoying it fully. It's fun to do that. So that's what engagement is. It's about having fun and being focused on an activity. And flow is that ultimate engagement. It's that state where nothing else exists. Have you ever had that moment? Maybe you were doing something on your own, maybe with other people, and you were so immersed in an activity that time and everything else around you did not matter anymore. And then after a while, you looked at your watch and then hours have passed when in fact it felt like minutes, right? I'm sure all of us have had those experiences in our lives. So we need to look for those activities. That's why we need to create what I like to call a good time journal, right? Where we list our activities and then we test them. So for example, like I mentioned, maybe you have this curiosity about writing short stories. Then that would be an activity you would put here. And then you would have to test it by actually sitting down and starting to write a few times and then measure it. Okay, in the time when you were writing, how engaged did you feel? Was it high engagement or low engagement? Did you achieve the state of flow, of total engagement and focus? And then what was your energy? Did you gain energy or did you lose that energy? Do you feel exhausted now? How does it make you feel? And then writing a short reflection about specifically what the experience of performing that activity was. Because sometimes you will realize that often it's part of an activity that makes us feel fully engaged and excited, but then the other parts, not so much. And we want to identify those little details. Just to give you an idea, I love delivering workshops, especially when I do that in person. But even now, over the internet, it's amazing what we can do now as well, right? That I can be in Zurich and work with all of you on the other side of the world. But delivering workshops is an activity that I always wanted to focus on. But I also realized that often I felt a little bit disengaged when I was delivering sessions. So I did this activity, and what I realized based on this activity was that I enjoy only delivering workshops on certain topics. So for example, I'm fully engaged when I talk about the life design process, about emotional intelligence, building self-awareness. But I get very disengaged when I have to talk about presentation skills, when I have to talk about negotiation skills, influence. Those topics are not something I'm excited about. I'm not passionate about them. So that was great feedback for me to focus more on the topics that really excite me, where I can add tremendous value and not do all the others. So this is a powerful tool, and I want you to take You don't have to do it right now. So right now, I want you to identify at least top 5 activities that you want to test. Maybe you already have an idea about in which direction you want to take your career. So maybe it could be based on your worldview. Maybe it could be just hobbies that you want to think about, something for your life to add more playfulness into your life. So anything that you are at least curious about, I want you to identify 5 of those activities right now. So write a list of 5 of those things. And then over the period of the next 2 weeks, I want you to test them, actually do them in a low commitment way, right? Sit down and actually start writing. And if this is something you're curious about, and then write a short review of how it went. Use those dials that you see here and mark how engaged you were, how much energy did you feel, did you achieve that state of flow. And I guarantee you that at the end of those 2 weeks, you will have a clear idea about which activities or what parts of those activities really resonate with you and which ones not so much. And then you will know which ones you want to focus on more and which ones you can put aside. So it's a very powerful tool that helps you build even more self-awareness about your talents, the things you're good at, and the things you're really excited about or can be excited about. And I will talk a little bit more about that later on. So I hope that's clear by now. Can you let me know if that makes sense? If you, in the chat box, can you let me know if you want to do this activity, if you can commit yourself to doing this activity, and if you know exactly what it means, what you need to do. Some people already have that, have the list. Awesome. I love that. Yeah. Okay, excellent. All right, so that's ideation. So we start to get ideas about the specific things that can help us move towards our life view and work view. So now we have to build prototypes for our lives. And we need to build several prototypes, by the way. It's not about having that one path that you need to stick to. It's about having several paths. And why is that important? That's important because there are many versions of you and they are all right. There are so many people inside of us, right? So many different personalities that are waiting to be expressed. Often I feel people who come to me for coaching, they say, I want this and I will not be happy until I get there. But that's a terrible way to approach life because you cannot control whether you can end up in that destination, right? It's not about that GPS system, it's about wayfinding. Because when you think about it, most of the things in life we cannot control. We cannot control whether we end up somewhere. By the way, can you let me know in the chat what it is that we can actually control in our life? I'm very curious about that. What do you think? What can we control in life? Ourselves, yes, our responses, our attitude, our habits, efforts, actions. Yeah, our behavior. Yeah, interestingly, whether we do something or not, have you ever done something and then regretted it later and you ask yourself, why did I actually do that? Right? Sometimes we cannot even control our behavior, or sometimes we have those thoughts in our head and we are thinking like, why am I constantly thinking about that? I don't want to think about that. But the more you try to resist it, the more you think about it. So there is actually very little we can control. So we can ultimately control whether we do something or not, but sometimes even that is really difficult. So remember, ultimately we have very little control. That's why we need to be flexible in our approach, because life happens. It will change everything, especially now in Corona times, right? Maybe you planned holidays for this year and, oh well, sorry, you cannot do that. And you cannot spend the whole year being frustrated about it. You can design a new path going forward. So that's what prototyping means. Getting input from your environment and yourself, and then building your way forward, creating a new prototype. Okay, so what will you do? What is the activity that we will do here? we need to build 3 different futures for ourselves, right? So in your workbooks, and as you see here, we have this, this drawing that identifies the next 5 years of your life. So each line that separates it is a year in your life going forward. We will create 3 life plans, right? Not just 1, 3. So if you look here, by the way, I want it to be visual because most of us are visual creatures, but we don't use visuals enough in our lives, in our careers. And visuals resonate with us powerfully. So I don't want you to only write the things you want to accomplish in the next 5 years. I want you to draw them. And I will show you in a moment how that could look like. But first, let's talk about the 3 life plans. So life 1 that you can create, that you will draw, is the path you're currently on. So it's based on the choices you are currently making. So if you are studying, if you're a student, you're studying a particular topic, what would the next 5 years look like for you if you proceed according to that path? And I want you to include all the areas of your life, not just your work and career and studies, all the areas of your life. What would that life look like, right? If you're already working or maybe you're looking for jobs, just design the path that you currently have in mind and you want to proceed with. So that's life plan 1. Life plan 2 is the thing you would do if life 1 were not possible. So let's say you want to work in human resources, right? But suddenly all the human resources jobs are taken over by artificial intelligence. That career is no longer possible. What do you do then? And this is where the fun begins, because life plan 2 gets you out of the box in which you put yourself in. It takes you out of the mindset of, I can only be happy if I achieve this, into I can be happy and fulfilled doing many different things. I have the skills to adjust. Life happens, maybe I will not achieve that. What else would I like to do? That helps you build further awareness around, that those little clues, those taps on the shoulder that tell you, look here, what else could you do? So this is life plan 2. What would you do if plan 1 was not possible? And then life 3 is the life you would live if money or your image of the opinion of other people were no longer an issue. So what would you do if there were no limits? That basically destroys the box in which we put ourselves in and tells us exactly what we want to do with our lives. So just to show you what that could look like, I want to share with you right now the life plan that I created for myself. So this is my 5-year plan. This is plan 1, by the way. So this is what my life plan looks like. And as you see here, I made it almost exactly a year ago. I like to actually do those life plans once a year, more or less. So I actually scheduled some time for this weekend to do my new 3 5-year plans. So as you see here, I put a lot of visuals. So last year, the way I wanted to proceed, I wanted to publish my book, become more active on social media, learn new things that I wasn't clear about what it could be, learn a new hobby, increase the sales of my products on Amazon and so on, get a new job. So this was all about life plan 1. So that's what it looks like for me from a year ago. And interestingly, if you look at year 1, I actually accomplished most of those things, almost all. I published my books, the sales on Amazon are increasing, which is absolutely awesome, even though I don't do much for it. So that's another interesting thing. And I did get a new job, but not in learning and development as I identified here, but because I noticed throughout that year that I'm no longer excited about working in corporate learning and development. I'm more excited about employee engagement and coaching. So moving more in that direction, focusing my career more on that. And then I got this amazing opportunity to do exactly that. So you see, we need that flexibility in our plans to allow us, because we change constantly. I know I'm a very different person than I was a year ago. So we need to adapt. Also, as you see here, I was planning to get married. But that will not work out because I'm no longer with my fiance. So that relationship ended, and that's okay because I can adjust now. Well, maybe I still can find someone in the next few months and still can make that deadline according to that plan if someone sweeps me out of my feet. But it's not about pressuring yourself to stick to a plan, right? This is just plan one. Interestingly, plan two, when I thought about what would I do if this was no longer possible, what would I do then? I realized that I would like to open a cafe. And that was so interesting to me because if I go back to the previous slide now, just a moment. Okay, no. This is another example. Okay, so if I go back to this slide, or actually maybe this one would be better. So as you see here under the 5-year plans, we have different dials that talk about resources, whether you have all the resources that you might need, how much you like the plan, how confident are you if you can achieve it, how coherent it is with your work view and life view. And then we also have a title. It's always cool to have a title. And we have 3 questions. So if you look at your life plan, what are the top 3 questions that come to your mind? So in my life plan too, when I was thinking about opening up a cafe, the number 1 question is that came to my mind was, how do you actually make coffee? Because by that time, I didn't drink coffee at all. Never before. Well, I tried it 2 times, I think, before I did that in my life. But somehow I was getting those taps on my shoulder from life that was saying, hey, look here, maybe coffee could be interesting. A cafe would be an interesting thing to focus on, right? So that was this interesting thing that Life Plan 2 showed me. And actually now I became a proud owner of a very, very good coffee machine that I just installed in my house, and I'm testing different coffees, and I'm actually getting good at it. So I'm prototyping it, I'm testing it, the assumptions from that. So that's why having several plans is so important, because it will tell you exactly all the things that you are not conscious about. So that's my Life Plan 2. And Life Plan 3, interestingly, I noticed was, if I could do anything in the world, I would combine my first 2 plans. So that was so interesting because it showed me that I'm already on the path that I want to be on if there were no limits, no restrictions. I would still want to work in the corporate life, focused on coaching, employee engagement, but maybe I would decrease it to 50% and I would focus more on my cafe in the other time, and also working with students, coaching students about their careers as well. So doing more of those things. So that was an interesting realization. And that's why those 3 plans are so powerful. So right now, I would want you to look at Life Plan 1 and year 1. So if you look at day 0 is today, and then a year from now, just draw, all right? I would encourage you to draw top 3 things you want to accomplish in the next 12 months, according to your Life Plan 1, okay? Not about perfect, just start doing it. You will complete those 3 plans later on. It will take only 15 minutes to do all 3 of them, but I want you to start drawing that right now. What are top 3 things you want to accomplish in the next 12 months? Draw them. Start drawing them already. And as you see here, I put also things from physical possessions that I would like to have, my relationships and other areas. And think about all the different areas as well. All right, so I hope you see the value of creating your plans. And then finally, you have 3 prototypes, you have all the activities that you want to focus on. So now it's time to test them. And it's so important to test and try things before you commit to them. Because often I see people who want to change their career and say, I want to quit my job right now and start looking for a career in a different field. Or I want to commit to a particular career, to particular studies, and then focus on that. But first, before you commit to something, you have to test it. Think about that. If you consider marriage, right? You wouldn't marry someone without dating them first. It would be crazy to commit to someone fully because you cannot know a person until you date them for a while, right? So testing things, trying things out should be low commitment. So think about having cheap dates, like really cheap, low commitment dates with your interests and the elements of the different life prototypes that you identified. So how can you do it from a practical perspective? So there are two ways in which you can do it. You can create test experiences and test conversations. For example, let's say you are interested in becoming a designer, right? Maybe you want to work for a design agency, you want to design logos, brochures, marketing materials, whatever that may be. Find someone who is already doing what you want to do. Find several people and reach out to them. You will be surprised by how responsive people in those positions are, because many of them know where you're coming from. They were you before, and they want to help others as well, right? So find those people, reach out to them, reach out to 10 people, and maybe 2 or 3 will reply, and that's still awesome. And then you schedule a conversation with them, whether it's in person or via Zoom, whatever. Try to schedule a conversation where you will interview them about that activity, that job that you're interested in. So, for example, when I started to work with AIESEC a few years ago, I realized that I absolutely love working with people who are starting their careers or are still students and trying to figure out what they want to focus on in their career. So I was thinking of becoming a career counselor, maybe shifting into that field. So then I identified all the career counselors that I could find on Facebook, on LinkedIn, in Zurich, and I wrote emails to them. I emailed them, and then I think I emailed like 5 people, and 2 replied. And then I scheduled conversations with them. And then I realized that I don't want to commit to being a career counselor fully after those conversations and testing those experiences. It's something I want to do on the side additionally, right? So that's the power of testing things. It will give you feedback. It will give you additional information before you commit. So you can fail fast with low risk and to get information. And similarly with experiences, maybe you can shadow someone for a day at their work to see exactly what they do day to day, to see if this is what you would want to do, right? So it should be low risk, low commitment tests. So right now I want you to write down, based on the things, the activities you are interested about, what are test conversations that you could schedule, or maybe a test experience. Please identify at least one that you would like to do, and then find a person that could help you with that. And it's really easy, you know. Some people will not respond to you. Don't worry whether you know them or not, but many people are very responsive. Like, for example, people reach out to me a lot to ask me about coaching. And I'm always happy. I always reply. I always schedule conversations with them because I love talking about coaching. Because I know that when I was at the beginning of my career, I wanted to have that support as well. So now I can give back the value that someone else gave to me before. So most people will want to do that. So think about the activities or jobs or careers you would like to test before you commit to them. And then later on, find people in your area or not who are doing that and see if you can schedule conversations with them. Okay, I hope that makes sense, and I hope you see how powerful that is. Oh yeah, by the way, one person here writes about internships and placements. and uni courses. This is a powerful way to test things as well, to see if you want a specific career. So that's a very, very good point. Okay, so I'm running a little bit over time now, so I don't want to take too much of your time, guys, but I hope by now you see the value of approaching life in a wayfinding way rather than a GPS system. Because if you try to navigate your way through life, this is what will happen to you. You will crash into the lake, right? It will be painful, you will suffer a lot because it's very rigid, it's not flexible enough, and it's not realistic. So I hope you see the value of using design thinking and applying it to design your life, because it's a playful process that helps you figure things out step by step. So that's it from me. And now, do we still have a few minutes for a quick Q&A? Guys,
Yeah,
can we
sure.
still do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, awesome. All right, yeah, are there any questions about the process, the mindsets, anything that I mentioned to you, anything else that you would like to know, anything else that I could help you with? Can you let me know in the chat right now, or maybe you can also unmute yourself. Can we also do that? Maybe
Yes.
that would be easier. Yeah, so whichever way you would prefer.
Could I ask a question by any chance? I have a question for you. Was there a time in your experiences where your design thinking concept was a bit challenging to apply? For example, maybe perhaps you reached a crossroad where you wanted to do 2 careers really badly, but they have really juxtaposing timeframes, for example? Or was there like a time like that where you felt really challenged?
Oh, sure. I do feel challenged all the time, to be honest. You know, it's part of life to encounter challenges. Like, for example, I'm really a recovering perfectionist. And also, when I was talking about that rigid approach, I still have a little bit of that, where I want things to happen and I want them to happen fast. So literally every day I have to work on being patient with things, because some things will take time. Like when I created my 5-year plan, it was before the one that I showed you. Even it was a couple of years ago, and I wanted to publish a book, right? So I had a timeline for that, and I wrote a book, half of my book, very quickly, and then the process was really difficult, and I was building my business, and I felt like at the point where I was with my business, I needed to have my book to actually build my brand further, to help people to reach, so that they can actually get to know me through my book and then connect with me. And I was nowhere near being done. And I was constantly stressed about that. And at the same time, I was also in my corporate career, I was struggling a bit because I wasn't fulfilled anymore. I had a change in my line manager, and we were not matching, right? So there were those different challenges, and I had certain timelines for each of those, and none of those things seemed to work. And I was getting frustrated, but then I came back to actually working on my life plan 2 and 3 to sort of get myself, create a bit more distance and show myself that I'm just creating expectations about my life that are actually not necessary, because I'm putting so much pressure on myself. I am in the process of doing that, but life happens on its own timeline. I cannot force change to happen on my timeline. I can take steps, I can work on them, but I need to be patient enough to allow life to unfold as it wants to, because you know, it's a matter of beliefs. I, for example, started to believe that everything that happens to us for a reason and at the right time when we actually need it. Whether it's something good or bad, it's something that we need in the moment as it happens. So each time I do struggle with challenges or pressuring myself and the timeline is not working out, I try to remind myself that simple truth, that life happens on its own timeline and I need to be patient. Focus on the steps that I can take and then believe fully that I will get where I want to go. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. That was extremely inspiring. Thank you for answering.
Thank you. So, here in the chat I see, wait, a few questions in the chat.
I think we can have time to take one more question for this Q&A.
Yeah, so maybe I can answer a few questions that showed up in the chat. So here, what are some helpful questions you ask in the test conversations with people working the careers you're curious about? So some interesting questions were more about the day-to-day activities, because I believe we often focus on the good things about a certain career, but we forget about the shadows of a particular work or choice, because every role, every action, every activity has two sides. It's like a coin with two sides, right? The things that are great about it and the things that are not so great. If you want to own your own business, for example, you want to focus on the freedom you will get of being your own boss, but you forget about the shadows of that there's a lot of uncertainty, that you might work extremely long hours and so on, that might not be aligned with your life view. So some of the powerful questions you can ask are about the day-to-day activities. What does your typical day look like in this role? What surprised you the most? What was unexpected to you after you started to perform that role? What annoys you in that role, right? So not only focusing on the good things that are part of this role, but maybe more about the negative things of that role. Because I do believe that the best question to figure out your career is not whether you want to focus on the benefits of this particular career or role, but rather whether you can live with the shadows of this role, with all the challenges and problems that come with this particular role, or how you can mitigate them. So when I was figuring out to be a career counselor, I realized that salary was a problem for me, because I was making great money in the corporate world, but if I wanted to commit to it full time, I would have to take a pay decrease. So then I thought, maybe I can enjoy it doing that by doing it additionally on the side. So that was the result of that conversation. Focus on the day-to-day question, ask about the day-to-day reality, and also think about, ask them about the negative things, the problems, the challenges that they face, which I find really useful. Okay, any other questions? Maybe one more?
Yeah, can we have time for one more question? Can I ask?
Yeah, sure. We
Yes.
take one more question.
Thank you. So I was just wondering, like during your journey as a business coach, what kind of have you ever given advice to someone who is like saying that I can't do this, it's so hard in life and I don't know where to go? What kind of advice would you give them and why is that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say, sure, life is hard. I mean, if you expect life to be easy, then that's not realistic. You're on the wrong planet, probably. Life is a struggle. So you need to find something that helps you go through that struggle with playfulness. That's why, you see, I had so much, I talked a lot about playfulness, and having fun are ingrained in my coaching and training so much, because I do believe that this is the answer to those struggles. When people say it's hard, I don't know what to do, I don't know if I can do things, I want to give up. Just for you're too close to that, because you want things to happen either too much or you're completely confused, but that's okay. Stop judging yourself and take it easy. Have more fun in your life. So usually when I have people in that position who come to me, sometimes I tell them that I cannot work with you because you're not ready to focus on taking action, right? Sometimes I take the tough love approach. come back to me when you are ready to take action. When I see that the things that we are talking about are not working out. Some people are just not ready to take that step yet. Maybe they want to, but they are not ready. So sometimes you need to take time to figure things out on your own. But for people, sometimes I ask them to, for a few weeks first, just do the things that they enjoy. Maybe do more of the things that they enjoyed when they were little. Stop pressuring yourself and start enjoying life more, because you need to come into life design with that playfulness, that lightness, because it's absolutely crucial. That's the only thing that will help you move forward consistently. So if you're struggling with taking action and you think it's hard, maybe you are too close to that problem. You are too much into it. So it's time to step back, focus on other things, have a bit more time, extend your timeline a bit more, and focus on gratitude. Also about the things that you have. Like, for example, last week, my sister actually came to me and said that I'm completely dissatisfied with my life right now. I had my plans, I had a clear timeline, and now because of coronavirus, I cannot do any of that. I cannot buy the house that I wanted. I lost that house and someone else bought it, and I cannot have that anymore. My career is basically stuck. I wanted to get married, but we cannot really do it right now. So I'm completely dissatisfied and I have no idea what to do. So what I told her is that you need to practice gratitude for what you have, because you can always be grateful for what you already have. We often forget that where we are right now is where we wanted to be a while ago, right? Because our baseline changes so quickly. When I think about 10 years ago, I wanted everything that I have right now. And now that I have those things, I want other things. And often I'm dissatisfied with where I am right now, but then I need to be grateful for what I have. So I find also the practice of gratitude so important, because that helps you to step back and appreciate where you are right now. So from a practical point of view, if you do want to practice gratitude, you can do it in two ways. Every morning when you wake up, what I encourage others to do and what I do every day is I list all the things I'm grateful for in general in my life. So what are you grateful for? If you say nothing, you're still alive, right? So you can be grateful for that. At least you're still alive, so that's awesome. If there's nothing else to be grateful for, you're above the ground. So there is always something to be grateful for. And you will be surprised by how many things you have that you can appreciate. And in the evenings, what you can also do is go through the day and list all the things that happened today that you are grateful for. And I'm also grateful for, the challenges that came my way. So if someone offended me, I list this in my gratitude list. I'm grateful for that person being mean to me because I handled it so well, or I learned something from it. So there is always something you can be grateful for, and you reframe problems into opportunities, right? So that's why the mindset of reframing things is so important. Don't look at problems, reframe them into opportunities. So if you struggle with something, if you feel you cannot move on, okay, so that's a challenge. That's an opportunity to figure things out. Because if I figure it out, my life will become so much easier because I will have a strategy for how to move forward. So how could I move forward? Well, what haven't I thought of yet? How else can I approach it? And asking powerful questions like that, maybe you could have a list of those questions that take you out of the mindset of the problem into opportunities, is really great in those situations, because our minds, our wonderful minds, the way they work, they always need to find an answer. If they don't know an answer, they will make up one. So use the power of questions, gratitude, and stepping back to do that. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, it's answered perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah.
Yes, thank you, Pawel. I think we're closing the Q&A session here. Thank you a lot for the amazing session and also the amazing answer that you give for all of our participants. And also, there's one of the AIESEC culture where you show appreciation to the speaker by instead of clapping, we do snapping. So can everyone please like show this appreciation to Pawel in either like snapping on the camera or like comment below like on the chat box. Thank you, Pawel.
Thank you so much. And if I may, so very quickly, now you started to build momentum. I hope you see the value of the design thinking process, designing your life process. So I would like you to take the next few minutes to actually complete all of those activities, because you will have a clear structure, clear strategy for how you can move forward. So use this session as a starting point and continue with that momentum. Take action, build your way forward, try things, test things, build prototypes, and look for feedback, and then adapt with flexibility and playfulness. So thank you so much for joining this session. I hope you had a great time. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm always available to talk more about that. If you would like to have some one-on-one coaching as well with me, you can always reach out to me. So here I see you have the different ways in which you can contact me, so please stay in touch. And also one other thing, if you could go back to the previous slide, I just want to mention one more thing. So this content is based on a couple of books. So I would highly encourage you get the book called Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. So they sort of they created that concept of using design thinking to design your life. So you will learn so much from it. And also parts of it is also from my book, which I also highly recommend to you. So continue with the design thinking process. I hope you see the value in that. And please stay in touch. If you have any questions, reach out to me. And good luck with this whole program. I think you are joining a wonderful program here. And I hope you will get tremendous value of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pawel.